Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. My name is Tapan Mishra Das. I serve at the Ministry of Education. And today we have the good fortune to invite with us, a privilege, I must say, to invite in this discussion today His Grace Mohanrupa Prabhu. His Grace Mohanrupa Prabhu is a very prominent leader in India, and I like to give a brief introduction. Prabhu is leading the temple, one of the most vibrant and big centers in India, in the form of ISKCON Delhi temple. And in India, he's known amongst the youth and population for his very vibrant preaching. So let's invite together His Grace Mohanrupa Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Mohanrupa Prabhu, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us today on this very important topic of Srila Prabhupada's transcendental books.
Yes, sir.
Mohanrupa Prabhu, please share with us when was the first time that you came in touch with Srila Prabhupada's transcendental books?
Oh, that was in the year 1990. First time I came in touch with Prabhupada's books. There used to be a Sankirtan van in Connaught Place area, the heart of the city. I just went there for shopping, but then I saw one devotee sitting in a Sankirtan bus and then inquired something, and then he gave me some books. And then I started reading. The first book I read was Science of Self-Realization and then Bhagavad Gita.
Right. And did you immediately take up the reading of books out of your interest, or did somebody have to put pressure on you?
Yeah, I started my own reading, and I started with SSR, Science of Self-Realization, and then Bhagavad Gita. I started on my own.
So we can presume that you were an inquisitive, were you a student at that time, that you immediately started to read about spirituality, because who's interested in spirituality?
Yeah, I just completed my graduation that time, and I was almost going to get a job, so I was somewhere in between. Yeah.
So it's been now almost 30 years
Yeah.
since you received the Science of Self-Realization.
Yeah.
And we can see regularly you addressing topics from that book. Out of curiosity, from that very first interaction from Srila Prabhupada's books, do you remember something which really struck your heart from the first interaction or the first encounter of the Transcendental Bhaktivedanta purports?
Oh yeah, I would like to really share this point because I was looking for something. I had this query always because in my home, there used to be altar with Radha Krishna in between and all of the demigods around. So I had this curiosity that who is the Supreme Personality of God? This was my query, and I could not get answer in any of the books. I tried Gita Press, Gorakhpur, and many other books, but then I got this Bhagavad Gita. One of my cousins had come from Bombay, so he also had got a copy of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada's Gita, and I also had purchased Gita from Connaught Place area, from the Sankirtan van, and I started reading Bhagavad Gita, the introduction. And as soon as I started reading the introduction, Prabhupada was crystal clear saying that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. So that's how, that really stuck me, and I really got convinced this is what I was looking for a long time. And Prabhupada is answering all my questions. And what happened, as soon as I started reading that, I started preaching and I started repeating to my family members and my brothers and all. I started repeating, and they said, "What's happened to you? Why you are preaching and why you're speaking from Bhagavad Gita?" So I was so much convinced. So I wanted to repeat and I wanted to speak it. And that's how I got more and more enlightened from that.
Prabhu, it seems that even the mention of Srila Prabhupada's books brings such a smile and liveliness in your personality that it must be very close to your heart. Have you always kept in touch with Srila Prabhupada's books on a daily basis?
Yes. Almost every day I try to read at least 1 to 1.5 hours. This is my regular reading every day. And from the day I joined this organization in 1990, I've been reading Prabhupada's books every day almost.
That's very inspiring and surprising at the same time. You're a very, very busy person and manager, looking after so many initiatives of ISKCON. How do you manage to take out 1.5 hours every day?
I have to find out time because, we have to give priority to this because I feel that it's so important, And sometimes I have to lock my room from outside, giving the keys to somebody who's very, very confidential. And then people think, no, this is what he's not there, he's not available, maybe he has gone outside. But I'm very much inside. I'm revealing the secret here. And that's how, I find out time. I lock up myself and I tell my devotees who are very confidential to me. So they lock the room from outside and give me time so that I can read Prabhupada books.
Is there a particular time that you fix in your schedule every day where you read Prabhupada's books?
Yeah, generally it is in the evening time only because the day is very, very busy. If evening is not free, then I adjust my time. I try to read during the day. So that's how I adjust. But I make it sure that I read at least 1 to 1.5 hours.
So the tips that we can take from you so far is that every busy leader can read for 1.5 to 2 hours every day, despite this schedule. Second, that we can keep one time and one place, even if we have to lock ourselves from outside, but we can find the time to read. Prabhu, what are your reading habits? Do you actually take up a particular book, or you read many books at the same time? How do you progress in reading Srila Prabhupada's books?
As far as I'm concerned, I try to take only one book at a time because if I take many books, then, I tend to distract myself, go here and there. And so better I focus on one book. I take one book at a time. Say if I'm reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, so I focus Chaitanya Charitamrita. And unless until I complete the whole book, I don't read any other book. So I focus only on one book at a time. So that's how, progressively, gradually, I try to read other books also. But I read one book at a time.
Which book must you be reading at this time? Are you reading a particular book now?
Yeah, my favorite book is Chaitanya Charitamrita, and I'm reading Chaitanya Charitamrita now. In fact, I've been conducting classes on Chaitanya Charitamrita for last 4 months since the lockdown has started. So I am finally in the concluding chapters of Antya-lila. So it has been a very, very, very pleasurable experience because lockdown has really helped me. I was able to read more and give more classes. So right now I'm reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yes.
So it seems that even just in this 4 months period, you were able to do the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita despite your busy schedule and also give classes on it.
Yes. So every day I almost take 100 to 150 verses and try to read them also and then give classes also. That I'm able to do during the lockdown. Yes.
All glories, all glories. And the Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srila Prabhupada's purports there are so sweet that one does not feel like keeping it down. If we could get 24 hours, we would want to continue to read.
Yes, that's true.
Something that you like to share with your experience of reading Chaitanya Charitamrita with the viewers?
Yeah, Chaitanya Charitamrita is, of course, highly philosophical in the beginning. The first 13 chapters is very much philosophical and people think, oh, I thought I will be reading Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, but there's so much philosophy there in first 13 chapters of Mahaprabhu. So many people in the body, they get stuck up. But Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is actually is giving us a foundation before we try to understand the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Is making us understand that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from Krishna. Therefore, he's talking about Krishna's expansion and other things, the creation and all. So it gives a very, very elaborate experience about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, and especially in the Madhya Lila, so much nectar is there. And I like this chapter very much. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction to Srila Rupa Goswami in 19th chapter Madhya Lila, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke, at Prayag, Dashashwamedh Ghat. So this particular section is very amazing because Mahaprabhu is giving actually the foundation of devotional service and how we can progress in Krishna consciousness. The entire philosophy is there. And this really actually inspires me whenever I read this particular chapter, 19th chapter.
Well, it's Krishna's divine coincidence that you mention it because I'm currently reading the same chapter. I've just moved to the 20th chapter, Srila Sanatana Goswami's interaction. And it's so amazing because Mahaprabhu gave the seed of the whole Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu there, and the word appears there.
It's
to Rupa Goswami. And then Rupa Goswami takes that and expands it.
Yes.
So it seems very much that chapter, as you described, is the is the foundation and essence of the writings of Srila Rupa Goswami.
Yes, yes. That's true. That's true.
Prabhu, when you study, do you sort of do a lot of what other devotees do, take notes, or you have some other reading habits which you have helped you over the years that you can share with us for our benefit?
Yeah, few things I note down. One thing, I have a highlighter, and try to highlight all those lines or points which impresses me a lot. And apart from that, I have made a register also nearby, manual register, where I note down all the questions which I can ask to somebody, my doubts, my questions, or my some kind of experiences by reading that purport. So I note down that also. So whenever I meet the devotee, so I can ask the question also based on that purport. I note down the page also, page number this and chapter number and text number, purport. This is a question. So like that, there is a register with me always. And apart from that, I also tick on the very important words which I feel that I can use it for preaching or lecturing or maybe purifying myself. So those things are there always. So this is very important for me, that always try to highlight the essential points, what I discover, what I've understood, and how will I apply. Three things. I say it's called dua. Dua means discover. I try to understand what are the three important points I try to discover, and then try to understand what are those points, and then apply in my day-to-day life, how far it is possible to apply these points, essential points in my day-to-day life. So therefore, 3 points are important for me: discover, to understand, and to apply. So this is how I try to go through the purpose, so that it gets embedded in my consciousness, and that really helps me preaching out.
It's interesting you make that acronym. A country that I was living before, and as you know, in the Farsi language, the word dua is almost like vandanam. It's prayer.
Yes.
So it seems that this makes the prayer to bring Krishna in our heart.
Right.
Prabhu, you've been in ISKCON Delhi. You have all been very, very successful in preaching to the youth and to the masses in a huge number. I mean, we can see now, we walk on the streets in Delhi and you can see so many people wearing kantimalas, carrying bead bags. It's like Delhi has changed. In your analysis, Prabhu, and observation, what do you think has the role been of Srila Prabhupada's books in the expansion of preaching in Delhi and in North India?
See, Prabhupada's books are very, very effective, and we have been stressing a lot on book distribution. In fact, our big book distribution started in the year 2005. And since then, we have seen that more and more devotees are joining the movement by reading Prabhupada's books. And what I saw that in our congregation, and many people, they are actually not regularly reading Prabhupada's books. So we thought that we should form some kind of system whereby devotees, they get an opportunity to study the Prabhupada books very scrutinizingly, and from all angles, they try to understand Prabhupada's purports, Bhaktivedanta purports. So we consulted many temples like Chapati, Pune, and there is one Belgaum. Many of the temples I consulted, and then finally I summarized those points, and we made our own program called Ashray program. Ashray program is based on Prabhupada books. So there are different levels in that: first level, second level, third level, whereby we give devotees opportunity to read all books, small books, medium books, big books, and Mahabig books. And systematically they read, they answer the question, there is a questionnaire. It's done in the small group of 10 to 15 people. People try to understand the philosophy, the purports, the paragraphs in the Prabhupada books from different angles. They discover, they understand, they try to apply in their own life. And what happens gradually, they all become preachers, they all become good speakers and good preachers. And that's how we have developed this idea. And the more we stress on Prabhupada's books, book distribution as well as studying Prabhupada books simultaneously, it has really increased our preaching, because the devotees, when they feel that so much important, there's so many things very, very important Prabhupada books, it's really helping in day-to-day life, and it can really help others. And devotees who start reading Prabhupada books, it's like computer, if you are having an input there, naturally there will be some output. So the input is philosophy of Krishna consciousness that goes inside. And somebody told me, I remember one of the leading sannyasis, I remember around 20 years back, he said, you know what is preaching? I said, yes, Maharaj, what is preaching? He said, preaching is like belching. He said, preaching is like belching. When you have sufficiently eaten prasadam, taken prasadam, so naturally you will belch after some time. So similarly, when you're studying Prabhupada's books regularly, naturally you will speak out something. It will come out. And that's how people start speaking here and there. And more and more people got connected because of Prabhupada books.
Prabhu, that's such a wonderful program. I want to know more about it. And I want to know if this is something that you can share with the Ministry of Education. Because the objective of this week and the primary objective of the ministry is to encourage devotees to read every day and read systematically. So the Ashray program that you're running will benefit many, many centers and temples around the world. I presume that this Ashray program can be done, you said it's in small groups, it can be done on site, but presumably it can also be done online, Prabhu, the way you've structured it?
Yes. Yeah, we have everything online. We can avail this whole course is there. Online also it is available, and we can provide this opportunity to all the devotees. At present, we have 200 groups available with us, but online programs is also possible, and the courses are available. All the details of the course is available, and we have one devotee who is running this whole show, and his name is Sarvapriya Prabhu. He can give you all the details, whatever is required, how we can do online also. That is I think possible. It can be done.
So we will take your help in doing so and sharing it with devotees worldwide, so that using this model, everybody can read, at least start with small books, then move on to bigger books, and then big books. Because one question I wanted to ask you, which you've already answered, is common question is devotees get overwhelmed. So many books, how I will read. But if you have established a program like this, together with each other's encouragement, if they can read regularly and systematically, it will be a big boon to the society and to devotees in general. Prabhu, what inspires you to read every day? I mean, you're reading. What is your inspiration?
My inspiration is Prabhupada himself. Prabhupada himself is my inspiration. Actually, the first book, one of the first books I read after Science of Self-Realization was Prabhupada Lilamrita. And I got inspired by Prabhupada so much. And then when I read Prabhupada's books, and Prabhupada said, I shall live forever in my books. I will live forever in my books. So whenever I read Prabhupada's purport, I find Prabhupada is there. Prabhupada is actually speaking to us. Actually, frankly speaking, Prabhupada has not written this book. It's all spoken kirtan. Prabhupada said, these purports are my spoken kirtans. So Prabhupada actually speaks. When you read Prabhupada's books, you can feel that Prabhupada is speaking to you. And you feel so personal, so connected with Prabhupada. And really, Prabhupada himself is inspiring. Whenever I read Prabhupada's books, I feel that Prabhupada is inspiring himself. And that's how those books are so effective, because he's actually there in these books. That kind of experience I had.
Well, so that's a beautiful experience. I think this was in the 90s, I remember, Prabhu, we used to get a big wall, just one book of Lilamrita with a red colored jacket in the 90s. And you don't feel like putting it down. I remember it was also one of the first books I got to read. Yes. And I had gone for my training from IIT somewhere. And my industrial training, I picked it up, and for 1 week, 10 days, I couldn't do anything else because, it was so inspiring. I want to ask you one fundamental point. It is mentioned that one only appreciates sometimes the written words when one appreciates the author. So what comes first? The relationship with the author or the words that the author has written? I
think both things are important. I remember one quote by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He said, I don't proofread the books, I proofread the author. He has said in one place. He said, I don't proofread the books, I proofread the author. I see who's the author, then I open the book. So as soon as I see Founder Acharya's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, that itself is complete, because then I know that everything will be complete inside also. So Prabhupada's name itself inspired. And I think both things are important. But first of all, as Prabhupada's spiritual master said that, yeah, we have to proofread the author first. The author is himself is founder Acharya, so then there is no doubt.
Absolutely. Nowadays, we are speaking a lot. I mean, devotees are talking about Srila Prabhupada being the preeminent Siksha Guru. Srila Prabhupada is the founder Acharya. And it would seem, Prabhu, that it would be very funny if we call Srila Prabhupada our preeminent Siksha Guru, and if we are not reading his books, so it will be quite ironical and hypocritical. So, you know, what do we say? What do we say to such devotees? What would your message be to such devotees who are saying founder Acharya, eminent Siksha Guru, but don't pick up the books?
I would like to quote Srila Prabhupada from Bhagavad Gita. One of the purports Prabhupada said, religion without philosophy, sentimentalism, or sometimes fanaticism, and philosophy without religion is mental speculation. So the religion must be based on philosophy. If you have so much faith on Prabhupada saying that he is the preeminent Siksha Guru, then we should know what actually he wants from us. What are his instructions? What is his desire? And that we can come to know only by reading his books, Prabhupada's books. So Prabhupada always wanted that we should be philosophically inclined. Prabhupada said that our devotees should be independently thoughtful and they should know what is right, what is wrong, what are the instructions, and what Prabhupada is expecting from us. So this is all available in Srila Prabhupada's books. So therefore, reading Prabhupada's book is very, very important for us.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, now we are in a time and age of instant gratification. And the natural tendency for the human mind is to do something in which they can see some artha, some benefit. So, you know, you go and tell them you do this, they want to know what benefit. From your experience of now almost 30 years of reading, guiding, inspiring, what are the benefits that you can share with the viewers of reading Srila Prabhupada's books? What will they get? What's in it for me?
Yeah. The most important benefit of reading Srila Prabhupada's books, one becomes Krishna conscious. And of course, for the people who are not Krishna conscious, for them it may not be a very tangible result and they will think, what is this? You're reading books to become Krishna conscious. They may not be able to digest, you know, what we are trying to say. But I'm talking to the devotee community. So what I'm trying to say, the first thing is that by reading Prabhupada's books, one becomes Krishna conscious, one becomes free from all kinds of ignorance. One really develops knowledge. One comes to know his constitutional position. Who are me? Who am I? Ke ami? Like Sanatana Goswami, you know, he said, he told, ask Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ke ami? Why the threefold miseries are actually troubling me? And who am I? These people are calling me learned. They are calling me a big scholar, but I don't know who am I. So all these questions are answered in Srila Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada's books helps us to become a teacher. Prabhupada's books helps us to become a preacher. Prabhupada's books helps us to become a devotee. Prabhupada's books helps us to become a good example for others. So by reading Prabhupada's books, we are able to develop our good consciousness. Once our Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj said, if you read Prabhupada's books regularly, your intelligence will become sharp. You will be able to discriminate. You will be able to identify this is Maya. Don't go near Maya. Because your intelligence becomes sharp, then you will be able to defeat Maya. So by reading Prabhupada's books, we gain a lot of confidence. We develop a lot of faith. And we know why we are in ISKCON. I want to say one thing very bluntly. See the most important difference between our institution and other institutions. There are very big institutions. I don't want to name them. I'm just saying, for example, the most important difference that we have Prabhupada's books. They don't have books. They may have big buildings. They may have big temples. Our movement is running only because of books. If there are no books in our movement, I can assure everyone, I can guarantee that our movement will be finished if there are no Prabhupada books. Our movement is whole soul dependent upon Prabhupada books. If there are no books, I remember our Guru Maharaj saying, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj saying, somebody asked Maharaj, you are going all over the world. Everybody receives you very nicely. And you stay in all these temples. Wherever you go in big cars. People will give you so much comfort and this and that. But if you don't have all these things, you'll be able to live. Suppose you don't have any opulence or no facility, no servant, nothing. Prabhupada Maharaj said, very wonderful thing he said. Maharaj said, I can stay in the jungle provided I have Prabhupada books with me. He said, if
Oh,
I
glories to
have
Srila
Prabhupada books
Prabhupada.
with
Jai.
me, I can stay in jungle also. So I say, stay in the forest also. So that's the point. So
Yes,
this is a treasure. If you don't have Prabhupada books, then we are finished. We don't know why we are doing and why we are serving and why we are working and why we are running here and there. And everything will become so mechanical. People don't know what, we will not know what is the goal of our life. We will get distracted. We'll be again into Purushartha, not Paramartha. We'll again run after
correct.
Dharma, after Kama and Moksha. And we will not run after Purushartha. So the Purushartha, the highest goal of life, can be known only by reading Prabhupada books. And that's why we need this input. We need this always this food to eat. Right.
Correct, Prabhu. And I'm reminded of this incident where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur quoted. He says, if all the books in the world
Yes.
were to be destroyed and only the Srimad Bhagavatam was there, then the world has lost nothing.
Nothing. Yes.
And we can certainly say that exact same statement for the writings of Srila Prabhupada
Yes.
and his books.
That's true. That's true.
Prabhu, you touched upon personally, and in terms of individual effect and the importance, and you talked about the goal of one's life. I want to change tracks a little bit and ask you about the goal of ISKCON as an institution, as a society. How would that be if devotees or leaders? Now let's come to the topic of leaders. You are an inspirational leader. You're reading every day. Have you seen personally in your interactions differences coming, difficulties coming if devotees are not reading? So I want you to share some examples of both sides of managerial situations of reading, not reading.
Yeah, of course, book reading is very, very important for everyone. But for the leaders, for the managers who are running this organization, if they don't read books, then our movement will be in a very big chaos. 101%. Because the leaders don't know what Prabhupada has said and what Prabhupada is expecting from us, then we are going to really commit a lot of blunders. So therefore, very, very important to know what Prabhupada is wanting from us, what are the 7 purposes of ISKCON, what Prabhupada is expecting from us, and what standards he has set up, what standard he has set up for deity worship, what standard he has set up for book distribution, what standard he has set up for serving prasadam, what standard he has set up for devotee relationship. So many things, So these things we'll come to know only when we read Prabhupada books. So this is very, very important for us. Either it should be what we should do. We should pass a law in ISKCON. There should be a GPC resolution that there should be made compulsory for the leaders to read Prabhupada books. Otherwise, they should give up their title. They should not be holding the title if they can't read Prabhupada books. So they should be made mandatory. There should be a resolution for all the leaders.
Prabhu, you put forward the proposal. We will back you up at the ministry. But Prabhu, I'm sure there must be things you must have experienced as a manager and leader in your life, which makes you feel so strongly about the statement that you just made, that if leaders don't read, they should be banned. Without giving names, can you share some anecdotes, some critical moments where you felt that you were, or the manager or the person was going in chaos was coming in the community because of this big lacuna of not understanding what Prabhupada wants to be done?
Yeah, because I found that many devotees were not reading Prabhupada books and they were in a responsible position. And because of that, there were a lot of mistakes they were doing. And they were not able to maintain their own spiritual standard. There were a lot of discrepancies even in offering the food to the Lord, because they were not aware of the deity worship standard also. So they were speculating that this offering could be done like this, like that, and they're compromising with the mantras. And even for the cleanliness part also, they were compromising a lot. Even the standards which they are supposed to maintain while preaching also, while dealing with people. So it was all a chaos, And gradually what happened, they became so mechanical. They thought whatever they're doing, they are doing a job. They are not doing for the pleasure of the Lord. They are not actually doing for the pleasure of the Lord. They are not doing for the pleasure of Guru and Gauran. So even for the collection of if they went started raising funds also, and because they were not conscious what Prabhupada said, they thought, okay, our goal is only to collect funds, but they don't know whom they are collecting for. The Lakshmi has to be engaged in Narayan service, the service of Lord Narayan. So many things, started coming up. And gradually what happened, these kind of devotees I've seen, they become very offensive also. They become offensive to devotees, and their relationship with other devotees, they don't improve. Rather, it gets deteriorated, and they don't know what they're speaking. Even when they give classes, while giving Bhagavatam class, they will not quote Prabhupada books. They will try to cut jokes also, and they will talk about politics. They will talk about in outside world a lot, but they will not speak. But they will not repeat what Prabhupada has said. They will not speak from Prabhupada's purports. And and the devotee is listening. Suppose I'm listening to them, and they are a leader. Suppose I am a new person. I've just joined 2 years before, and some leader is giving Bhagavatam class, and if it doesn't go Prabhupada at all, naturally I will get discouraged, because I am reading Prabhupada books as a junior person, and I will see, oh, this guy, this person, this senior person is not quoting from Prabhupada at all. He's not even spoken anything about Prabhupada. So that can really discourage, demotivate, people who are especially trying to progress, who are junior people, who just joined the organization, and they feel really get demotivated. And they think, and then also, they also think, because they think the senior, the leaders, the managers, they are not reading Prabhupada books. Okay, they'll think, okay, this is what life is. This is what ISKCON is. This is what Krishna consciousness is. And they will preach to the juniors, because they are not reading Prabhupada books. They will preach to the juniors, don't waste so much time in reading. You should be practical. What is the use of reading 1 hour? I read only one word, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam. Everything will be done. So in that way, they will discourage devotees. And what happens? The junior devotees, they will also follow their footsteps, and gradually they also become like that. So this becomes a community of those people who are not serious about reading Prabhupada books. And gradually what happens, we have seen the standards goes on, its standard goes down, and it goes down, it goes down. It doesn't improve at all. So this is what I've experienced with many people. Yeah.
Oh, that's an immense experience, Prabhu, an observation over so many years. Prabhu, practically, you shared with us the Ashraya program. You shared that you encourage everybody. But practically, as a leader, what are you doing within your centers and temples that are under your care to counsel, guide the next level of management to encourage them in their habits of reading? Can you share something with us which others can also implement?
Yeah, this is one program, My Ashraya, where our congregation devotees are doing. And for the regular resident brahmacharis and resident devotees also, we have regular courses, Bhakti Shastri courses are there that we are regularly conducting. Apart from the lot of training courses we have by different leaders, ISKCON Leads program. Every year we send few devotees to the ISKCON Leads program also. They get trained. And the senior people, they are going to the GBC college. They are also getting educated and trained there. And that's how, we get inspired more. Because when we see the leaders are getting trained and the devotees have a program whereby they can study Prabhupada books systematically, like Bhakti Shastri courses and Bhakti Vaibhav. Also now we are going to start soon Srimad Bhagavatam, because of lockdown we got just a little bit delayed. We were supposed to start in the month of April, but now we are thinking we'll do online Bhakti Vaibhav course also, so that devotees can attend from here itself and they study Srimad Bhagavatam also elaborately. So this is our plan for studying Prabhupada books systematically. Apart from this, of course, My Ashraya program is also there for the youths we have and for the congregation we have. So these are some ideas we have developed.
So Prabhu, you have a very systematic program for reading. You made arrangement for different stakeholders, constituencies within your zone to engage. I want to ask you a couple of questions on what should be one's mood when one approaches Srila Prabhupada's transcendental books. I ask you this question because sometimes we've noticed that devotees they want to pick up the book just before the class, and they want to memorize things by which they can impress, etc. And it's very disturbing to see that. What should be the right mood and attitude when one approaches Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita?
See, Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur said, one must hear Hari Katha with service-inclined ears. So that means reading or studying Prabhupada books must be done in a service attitude. It is not for sense enjoyment or just to show our intelligence or show our oratorship or show how good we are at speaking. But actually it is for our own purification. We should not be reading books only when we have to give lecture. I remember Sultan Radhakund Maharaj saying, don't read books when you have to give lecture. You should read daily. So point is that it should be done like Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, the austerity of speech, or Vani is Swadhyaya Bhyasanam. That means if we study Shastra or scripture, it is actually purifying our speech also. So it's basically we should think it is for self-purification, and the result will be that if we are getting purified, naturally we'll be able to help others also. So naturally this preaching will automatically come out. So the point is that the mood should be that we are actually reading so that we can save ourselves, and not only save ourselves, but we purify ourselves. And when we do that, naturally we'll try to help others also. So this is one thing. Another thing is that when we talk about the mood, what should be the mood of reading Prabhupada books? See, my experience has been little, sometime, what happened, we had unfavorable experiences. There was time in the, you can say, the early 90s, where many devotees were living. And that was a phase where, many devotees who had read Prabhupada books many times, 4 times, 5 times, and 6 times, But point is, then they were quoting Prabhupada purports also. They were getting some reason of living the society by quoting Prabhupada books, misusing Prabhupada's purports for their own agenda. So one has to be really, really careful that Prabhupada books should be read under somebody's guidance. Like we had Bhakti Shastri courses, we study books under somebody's guidance. So the mood should be, when we are reading Prabhupada book, that's why Bhagavatam also says, Sata Prasanga Mama Veerya Samvido. One must hear Katha in the association of devotees. So in the association of devotees, if you read Prabhupada books, then there will be a watch, there will be a supervision, and then we'll know what we have read, whether we have understood properly, whether we have assimilated properly, and when we are presenting, whether we are presenting properly. Devotees can watch, they can give us feedback. Then we will try to improve ourselves. Otherwise, we study independently, then it can be a dangerous situation. I remember Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Swarup Damodar is telling that Bengali poet, if you want to study Bhagavatam, go to a Vaishnava. Go to a Vaishnava to study Srimad Bhagavatam. So similarly, when we study Srimad Bhagavatam or study Prabhupada books, we should be reading, we should be studying Prabhupada books under the guidance. Otherwise, it will be a big mess, Because I have seen big scholars in ISKCON, and then they, on the basis of Prabhupada books, they argue a lot, and gradually you have seen they are also leaving the movement. So that could be a dangerous situation. So therefore, Prabhupada books should be read under guidance, under proper supervision, and then we can just improve ourselves wherever we are making mistake. So that's the whole idea. So Prabhupada books should be read in a service attitude, in a service mood, so that we can serve the Guru Parampara, serve the society, serve the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We are studying the Prabhupada books so that we can spread the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and also to purify our own self, our own existence. And that will really help us. Otherwise, if we read just for reading, just to increase our intellect or trying to show off something, then we are finished. Then these books can be really heavy, then these books itself can become Maya for us.
Like Prabhupada said, as a frog, our belly will burst. In our case, our head will burst. That is absolutely true. Prabhu, I seek one help from you formally, which is, there must be many devotees in and around North India who are speaking in Hindi and realizing Prabhupada's books. We would like you to please request them to share their realizations, short realizations of us with us at the ministry, so that we can, just like we're feeling inspired by you, we can feel inspired in Hindi language also. We can share with devotees around the world, and they can benefit of their realizations.
I'll tell them, sure, I'll do that.
We are very grateful, Prabhu, that we are so inspired actually to see that every day Chaitanya Charitamrita is being spoken under your guidance. I'm thankful for your time. I'm also conscious of the time. But Prabhu, I hope that this will not be the first and the last, but we'll have many more opportunities to hear from you on this important topic of reading Srila Prabhupada's books. I benefited greatly by hearing from you. I feel very inspired. I'm sure everybody else who view this will feel equally so. Thank you so very much for your time again.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada's transcendental books.
Jai.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,